Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. So, how many of you have probably seen the movie Pinocchio? Everybody, right? But who's actually read the book? Well, probably not a lot of people nowadays, but this is one of the most famous, popular books of all time. And the reason I read it was because I was playing the game Lies of P, the Dark Souls esque video game that's based on Pinocchio. And if you've ever watched my channel before, maybe you know I've been trying to read. I've been doing a few different challenges. One of them is reading books from whenever I was a kid that I never got to read or that I just don't remember, like books they made us read in high school or even as a kid, like classics like this Pinocchio. I'd never read it before, so I thought it was a perfect opportunity to do so. 1883. That's crazy. So this is a really interesting fact. This is the third most translated book of all time. That's pretty wild. That is, so number one is the Bible. So this is number three. Think how crazy that is. Carlo Collodi's Pinocchio. Number two is The Little Prince. I have not read The Little Prince either. But anyway, I have just a few bullet points right here that I just wanted to talk about. I'll definitely do spoilers. I mean, this book is, over 100 years old. So if you haven't read it, I'm sure you've seen the movie. So there's nothing really too crazy to spoil. But it is a lot different than the cartoon, the Disney movie. So, yeah, Pinocchio, he is a talking piece of wood. When the book starts, he's a piece of wood that starts talking. And he's a little jerk. He's a little prankster. He's knocking into people's shins and laughing, and he's just a little turd, right? So the carpenter, I guess, decides to just give the wood to Geppetto. And him and Geppetto fight. It's so absurd. This whole book is just crazy. What is Geppetto's profession? Well, he's poor. That's his profession. He's poor. I think his actual profession is like a wood carver, but Pinocchio, when asked at one point, what does your papa do? He says, well, he's poor. That's what he does. He's poor. Anyway, just really funny. Geppetto, he's a total jerk too. He rages on all the neighborhood kids because they make fun of his hair. His hair looks like oatmeal, so they all call him Oatmeal. And he freaks out and tries to beat them whenever they do. Like, it's Polendina. Polendina is how you say it in Italian, I guess. Oatmeal, basically. So, how about Jiminy Cricket? It's a pretty big point of the movies, right? Is the cricket on your shoulder, your conscience. Well, in the book Pinocchio, there's a talking cricket that tries to tell Pinocchio, hey, you're being a little jerk. You should do good things instead of bad things. So Pinocchio throws a hammer and smashes his head against the wall and kills him. So I didn't see that coming. Yeah, he murders the talking cricket. I think at the very end of the book, the cricket reveals himself to still be alive, but it definitely says that he killed the cricket. He smashed his head with a hammer. It's just like, this is what is so funny about these old fairy tales, if you want to call it that, is they're really dark, right? So anyway, he falls asleep near the fire and his feet burn away. So he's got no feet anymore. So Geppetto makes him some new feet. Just weird things keep happening like that. He ends up running away from Geppetto, and he's just a little turd, right? He doesn't know what he's doing. He just wants to run away and just have fun and play all day long. So he comes across, Geppetto sells his only possession, his coat, to buy Pinocchio a book so he can go to school. And Pinocchio immediately hawks the book for some money so he can go see a circus. He's just a little jerk, right? So he ends up with some gold coins because the guy from the circus tried to burn him, tried to set him on fire and burn him for firewood. and realizes he made a mistake. So he gives Pinocchio some money. Well, then Pinocchio immediately gets scammed by a fox and a cat. So they tell him, if you bury this in this field, it'll actually turn into 2,000 pieces of gold instead of just 4. So, and then when he buries it, they go behind him and steal his money. And it's just absurd. And he's so gullible, and he keeps making mistakes. And every time he makes a mistake, he's like, dang, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to be a good boy. So he gets pursued by assassins who want to kill him. It's actually called assassins. So they catch him. He bites one of their hands completely off. Just bites their hand off. So one of the assassins no longer has a hand. But when he bites it off, he realizes it wasn't a hand, it was a paw. Interesting. It was a paw. A cat's paw. So, yeah, it's the fox and the cat. They catch him. They stab him with knives, but that doesn't work because he's a piece of wood. So they can't kill him with knives, so they decide we're going to hang him to a tree. So they hang him. They hang him from a tree until he's dead. So, don't know if you knew that part about Pinocchio, when they hang him from a tree until he's dead. He's rescued by a fairy. She becomes basically his mother. It's just one thing after another. He goes to the police to tell them he was robbed. He was robbed, and they tried to murder him. And the police take him to court, and the judge says, that is unacceptable. You, sir, are going to jail. So since Pinocchio got robbed, he is going to go to jail. That's how things work in this world. So he goes to jail. He goes to prison for like 4 months or something crazy. You see what I'm getting at? This book is just absurd. So I'm not going to go over every single plot point in the book. It's pretty short. Basically, everything I said was in like the first 50 pages of this book. So there's, the part where he gets swallowed by the whale. There's the part where he becomes a donkey, just like in the cartoon. Those things happen. At the end, does he become a real boy? I mean, yeah, he does. It's weird. It's just a really weird book, and I had a lot of fun reading it. This is exactly why I wanted to go back and read books that I didn't get to read when I was a kid, or maybe I did, but I've forgotten them since. It was a really quick, easy read. I had just finished reading a really challenging book, and this was just a nice way to just relax and read and not have to sit there and figure out what I'm even reading. I won't say what that book was, but it was really challenging, and this was just a nice change of pace. So, yeah, I actually found this penguin, it's kind of beat up. But yeah, it's a nice edition. It looks like faded, but it's actually in good, clean condition. Maybe it's supposed to look like that. I don't actually know. But I couldn't find a copy in person. I went to a few different places trying to find a copy. Couldn't, so I had to end up ordering it on Amazon. I don't like ordering books from Amazon. They're so cheap, but half the time they'll deliver your books all beat up. So I don't like that. Anyway, it is what it is. I actually got a clean copy. So this book says it's $13. I think it was, like $10 on Amazon. So, all right, that's it. So now you guys hopefully will check out Pinocchio, and then I'll see you on the next video.